All right, remember we are revising. So this is a model, this is an example. Sorry, I have a microphone in my hand and my kids are staring at me. We have a model here. This is going to be an example of what a revision really looks like. It's not, again, just, oh, I read through it and I added a period. It's really thinking about killing your darlings, if we want to get Stephen King-y about it, right? So killing your darlings means, like, I wrote this thing. I spent time. I spent effort and energy on this, but it's over the word count, right? I've done too much, or it's not great, and I got to cut some stuff out. So I'm going to read it aloud once, and then we're going to go in, and I'm going to show you how I go in and actually revise to take out some stuff. I know it's too long. It's 600 and something words, and I also know that I'm missing a part. So I know that at the end, I don't actually connect it to the .ex message yet. So I got to do a lot of killing, okay? So I'm going to read it out loud. Just follow along. One time that I chose happiness was when I was going through a bad breakup. I had been dumped. I was 26 and I didn't want to start over. It became tedious after college. You don't meet people like you used to. You have to actively seek out people, but can't seem too desperate or you'll come off as creepy. Online dating had been a bust. An unwelcome gift from my parents at Christmas. Thanks, Mom and Dad. This wasn't an online turned real relationship, though. We had met through a mutual friend, had a few double dates, and then dated for a few months. It wasn't the most serious relationship I had been in, but I thought it could go somewhere. He dumped me in the fall. The beginning of the cold, dreary season of the year was paired with a cold, dreary attitude. I sat in my house crying for a day, then two. I figured that's how the next few months would go. But then I got a text from a high school friend. Hey girl, I know we haven't talked in a while, but I'm looking for another girl for our soccer team. First game is tomorrow if you can make it. I had a choice. Continue to wallow in my self-pity. Continue to cry over a man who didn't care about me. Continue to eat my weight in fast food and ice cream. Or choose to start doing something that would make me happy. It would cost me $60 and 8 Friday nights, but I would get to catch up with an old friend and get some exercise, which I desperately needed. I cried the whole drive to the game. As I was sitting in the parking lot, I watched my old friend walk into the soccer complex, and I gathered the courage to step outside of my car. Our team was small, only 5 people had shown up. Luckily, the other team only had 6. We decided that we would only play 5 at a time, leaving them with 1 sub and us with nobody. When the game began, I was slow to start. If adrenaline was supposed to be flowing through my circulatory system, it wasn't. My legs felt heavy, my body didn't want to move, my mind started to play tricks on me, as the mind tends to do when you're already down. I shouldn't even be out here, I whispered to myself. As the ball flew past me for the 3rd time, I couldn't help but think, I suck at this, and I don't belong here. I was miserable, and the tears that had stopped flowing for a few minutes threatened to break the dam I had put up behind my eyes. Then someone started laughing. A missed ball led to a chuckle. Sending the ball halfway down the field, only to go out, was met with a dramatic flop to the ground. The other team made fun of their goalie, who didn't run for more than a few seconds, but for some reason was dry heaving in the trash can behind the benches. Oh, sorry, guys. I let the tension go a little bit. I started to move a bit faster, dropping the lead that had been holding my feet down so well. The first time I touched the ball, my old skills came back to me. It really was like riding a bike. And I managed to do a drive up the field, maneuvering around 2 of the other team's players. I didn't score that game. Our team didn't win. But I smiled and laughed, and for about an hour I forgot about the silly boy who broke my heart. A few short weeks later, when someone from that other team asked me out, I said yes. Even on my best days before, I think I would have taken some more time to just be miserable. But that first game triggered something in my mind. It changed the way I thought about myself and being dumped. I finally chose to be happy, even though I fought it for weeks. All right, so this is a true story. And this is about, it's not a self-confidence prompt. This was a happiness prompt, so that's why it's all about happiness. But I can go in, and there are some things I can really cut out of this, right? So that first paragraph, I wrote it, and then I read some of the models, some of the examples, and the examples really like dropped us into what was going on. So I feel like, even though I spent time, even though I spent effort writing this first paragraph, I don't really need it. And I don't really need that part necessarily about like how dating becomes tedious after college. It's not super necessary to this essay. Make sure your eyes are on the screen. That second one was a really kind of off topic. This is true. Like for Christmas, guys, my parents got me a Match.com membership this year. Not this year, but that year. Yeah, thanks. Right? That wasn't super necessary to this essay, right? So like I don't need that part especially. But I do think like a little background on the relationship is important, right? We had met through a mutual friend, yada yada. I don't even know that we need like had a few double dates, so I could get rid of that. But I really like this paragraph here, right? It starts with "He dumped me in the fall." I feel like that could be a good way to start the whole essay. And so it says, "He dumped me in the fall. The beginning of the cold, dreary seasons of the year was paired with a cold, dreary attitude." I think I kind of need some background then right there. So I'm going to take this part from before and move it. I don't have his name. I think I need that probably. I'm going to just call him Chris. That was not his name. Chris and I had met, yada yada, through a mutual friend, da 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 da. But I thought it could go somewhere. And then I move into like, nope, it didn't. I sat in my house crying for a day. So I like that paragraph now. I know I have too many words, so I could probably cut out part of this text message, right? That second sentence isn't super necessary. I really like this paragraph, so I'm not going to change it. I like the short sentences mixed with the long sentences. I like how I kind of described what it would cost me, like the way I described that. I liked that all, so I'm going to skip down to the next one. I have like transitions, right? So going from one place to another, that's always a good place to cut stuff out. And then describing things that aren't necessary. Like I cried the whole drive to the game. Yeah, okay. Yes, still wallowing in self-pity. Okay, we got it. Our team was small. Like neither of those are super necessary. I can cut both of those parts out. I do like this whole "I gathered the courage" thing, so maybe I could find a different place for that. So then we get to the game starting, right? I'm kind of zooming in on this moment. Hannah, I need you to focus, please. So I kind of zoom in on this moment. I'm over my word count though, right? So like I can cut out words, right? If adrenaline was supposed to be flowing through my body, there I cut out a word, right? It wasn't. I know I'm miserable. I don't need to say that like 3 separate times. So I think I could get rid of this second and third example. Right? I shouldn't even be here. I whispered to myself, I was miserable. I don't need, this is like 12 words. I like this image here in this last line though. Okay, so you guys can kind of see like I'm moving stuff around. I'm cutting out a lot. Right? Sometimes our first draft we just start writing and then you're like, ooh, I don't know what that was supposed to do. Right? Think of the purpose. And you can even get down to like the sentence and like word level. So this last one, I've got a lot of extra words. A few short weeks later. I don't need that. Even on my best days before, I think I would have taken more time. I can get rid of "I think," right? And the meaning stays the same. But that first game triggered something in my mind. It changed the way. I could get rid of all of that, right? It triggered, the first game, we could just say changed the way I thought about myself and being dumped. I don't need that part. I finally chose to be happy, even though I fought it for weeks. Right? So that's a really important part there where like my mindset changed. I still need a short paragraph about .ex like good life. And I've got like 50 words that I could play around with. Okay? So that's revision, right? And it's not even like the most revision I could do. We could be moving whole paragraphs around. But that is how we revise. We go in and we really think about the purpose, right? And this is a true story. Actually, the guy who asked me out is the guy I'm married to now. So this was like how my husband and I met. So I like writing this story. It was kind of fun. Okay, so that is revision. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna